reportedly ready to accept loan to buy deal for Manuel Ugarte. Jadon Sancho still attracting interest from Chelsea, and INEOS ready for massive player clearance before the window ends next Friday. These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this evening's show, but before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 1,000 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. We're on the brink of hitting 40,000 subscribers, so make sure you get involved. Everyone is welcome. Right. So much news to get into on the show today. It feels like INEOS really are turning over a leaf with getting players out of the club. So we're going to spend the first section of the show kind of just running through all of the news in relation to outgoings, because there's so much happening at the moment at Manchester United. And I know people think that, you know, a lot of the time there's stories and then nothing actually happens. I actually think, to be honest, that at the moment what we're seeing from INEOS is quite impressive. I do. And we're going to go through that all really quickly. So we've had 3 confirmations today of players leaving the club. So I want to go through those 3 really quickly. The first one is Will Fish. He is leaving Manchester United and joining Cardiff in the Championship. The fee, I'm still trying to find out how much the fee is. But my expectation is it will be somewhere under £1 million. So it's not going to be a lot of money, but it's still better than nothing. He's come through the youth academy. It will be 100% profit. And at the end of the day, if he's not good enough for Man United, we may as well move him on and give him a chance somewhere else. So that's Will Fish. The next one is Facundo Pellistri. Obviously, we broke you the story this morning that he is on the brink of joining Greek side Panathinaikos for €6 million, which I think we can all agree is a little bit of a joke. But the more I think about the Pellistri situation, I put this up on my Twitter yesterday, I think it was. There isn't anybody else coming in for Pellistri. You know, we're all sat here saying it's a disgrace. Why is Pellistri going for so little money? This, that, and the other. But when you actually think about it, why is no one else bidding for Pellistri? If it's such a good deal, why are there not other clubs trying to sign him? Why are there not other clubs in Italy or in Germany or in Spain or, I don't know, in the French league? Like, nobody else is trying to sign Pellistri. The only club who's offered us any money is a Greek side, and that's €6 million. So it's easy for us to sit here and say, oh, he's worth more than that, all the rest of it. But when you actually think about it and when you actually break it down, you can only sell when there's a market there. And if the market is telling us that he's worth €6 million and that's the best offer we've got, then we have 2 options. We either keep him, he leaves in 12 months for free when his contract expires, or we sell him now, get the €6 million in the bank, and don't pay him wages for the next 12 months. And I think, you know, when you look at it like that, it does make a lot of sense. And it has been confirmed in the last kind of hour or so that apparently Manchester United will have a 45% sell-on clause for Pellistri, which I think is fair. If he goes to the Greek league and does well and gets a big move to, I don't know, Spain or to Italy, we'll get nearly half of that transfer fee. So overall, I don't really have any problems with it. I think, you know, maybe he deserved the chance. Maybe Pellistri has been hard done by. Maybe Anthony shouldn't have played last season. These are all questions we can ask ourselves. But the fact of the matter is he's got 1 year left on his deal. Erik ten Hag clearly doesn't rate him and he's not going to play. So get rid of him. So that's him. And then the final one, I always say this guy's name wrong, so bear with me. Oidel? I've probably said his name wrong, but he's a youth player. Maxi Oidel. Again, another player who's come through the youth academy. He looks like he's going to be joining Polish side Liga Warsaw. So fair play to him. Go off, see what you can do. Transfer fee wise, we're still waiting to see what the fee will be for that one. But again, it's expected that there will be a massive sell-on clause and a buyback clause in the contract for this player. So Manchester United effectively today have got 3 deals done in the space of 24 hours, which is absolutely amazing. I know they're not the most biggest, glamorous exits, but it's still money. It's still moving on players that Manchester United don't think are going to make it into the first team. So it is what it is. But going on to some more senior players, let's talk about Hannibal Mejbri really quickly then, because we found out about an hour or so ago that apparently Manchester United are in talks with Burnley over a permanent deal for Hannibal Mejbri. And apparently Manchester United are asking for between 10 to 12 million pounds for Hannibal. I would be really happy with that. You know, if we could get 10 million for Hannibal, or even 12, I would be really, really happy with that. Again, I have nothing bad to say about Hannibal. I'm just not convinced that he's Manchester United quality. I think he has the passion, he has the aggression, he has the engine, but I just don't think he has the quality, to be honest. And you know, we saw him go to Sevilla on loan in January, and it was a disaster. He's come back to Manchester United. He's played a bit of pre-season. I just don't think it's somebody who's going to make it into the first team. So Fabrizio says that Manchester United are in talks with Burnley over a deal for Hannibal Mejbri. He says the talks have now started. He says that they're still trying to agree terms of the deal. Yeah, so effectively Manchester United are in talks with Burnley. Nothing's been agreed as of yet, but they are talking. They are trying to come to some sort of agreement. Man United apparently asking for 10 to 12 million pounds. And, you know, when you think that Burnley just sold Sander Berg to Fulham for 25 million, yeah, of course, we should be asking 10 to 12 million, you know? Hannibal Mejbri in the Championship will probably do really, really well. He'd go to a Burnley and probably look great. So I would be holding out for 12, you know? That would be really, really helpful for the final weeks of the window for us to have that extra bit of money in the bank. So yeah, Hannibal Mejbri to Burnley looks like a deal that could happen. If he doesn't go to Burnley, the expectation is that he will go to somewhere else. He's only got 1 year left on his contract. He's not going to get a new deal at Manchester United, so it does look like he will be moving on very, very soon. And then the next player I've got some news for you on is Christian Eriksen. And apparently Eriksen has been offered to Ajax. This is coming out from Laurie Whitwell in The Athletic. Apparently Manchester United are asking for around £5 million for Christian Eriksen. I have no problem with that. I think it's probably a fair price. But yeah, let me know. Like, do you think Christian Eriksen should stay at Manchester United? I just personally think that he definitely needs to go. Personally, he's 32. He's on 150k a week. I just don't see him having a future at Manchester United, Christian Eriksen. Like, I really, really don't. But yeah, well, you can let me know your thoughts on that one in the comments below. Like, how do you feel about Christian Eriksen? Do you think he should stay at Manchester United? Let me know what you think. Right, let's see what else we've got. People talking about Manuel Ugarte. We'll talk about Ugarte in a minute. I want to get through some of the other smaller news stories before we go into Manuel Ugarte. There's so much to get through that I don't want to just talk about Manuel Ugarte for half an hour. You know, I want to talk about some other things. So we're going to talk about some of the smaller stories, and then I will talk about Manuel Ugarte in a couple of minutes. So yeah, just bear with me there. Give me 5 or so minutes and we'll talk about Manuel Ugarte. People in the chat are saying that Ajax have no money. Surely Ajax could pull 5 million together, surely. They're in the Europa League, aren't they? I think. Or are they in the Conference League? I can't remember what league they're in. They're in some league anyway. Okay, but let's move on from that though. Little bit of an update on McTominay. Apparently, Napoli are still interested in signing McTominay. Apparently, the reason the deal fell through for McTominay to Fulham was that he didn't want to go. He said, I don't want to go to Fulham. Manchester United came to McTominay and said, we've got an offer on the table. What would you like to do? Would you like to stay at Manchester United or do you want to leave? And apparently McTominay didn't want to go to Fulham, and that's why that deal fell through. So, I mean, I don't really blame him, to be honest. You're playing for Manchester United. You've come through the youth academy at Manchester United. You're earning good money. You're playing to the biggest fan base in the world, in the biggest stadium in England, or in the Premier League. Sorry, why would you go to Fulham? Like, I kind of get it. And you know, the fact of the matter is that Manchester United weren't actively trying to push Scott McTominay out of the club. They said to him, you know, if you want to stay, then we won't push you out. So, yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you could say that we should have pushed him out, but do we want to end up like a Chelsea who don't respect their players? You know, they didn't respect Conor Gallagher. Like, maybe we should be like that. Maybe we should be ruthless. Maybe we should have, you know, thrown Rashford out, thrown McTominay out. Maybe that was the answer. But it doesn't seem like Manchester United are wanting to go down that route, you know? Maybe that's wrong, maybe that's right, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what you guys think. I assume most people will probably say that we should have just thrown McTominay out, but I'd be interested to see what you think anyway, so you can let me know. We've got over 1,500 people watching the show live now. If you could do me a small favour and hit the like button, that'd be really, really appreciated. We've only got 200 likes on the video so far. So if you are just joining, please make sure to like and also subscribe. Once we hit 40,000 subscribers, I will be giving away 2 brand new Manchester United shirts. So make sure you go and subscribe if you haven't already. We're not very far away. I reckon we'll be on 40k by next week. So please go and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I'm pretty confident we'll hit 40k by next week. So go and subscribe, get involved, completely free content, and you could be with a chance to win a Manchester United shirt next week. Okay, we've got a bit of news on Victor Lindelof as well to bring you quickly. And I'll be honest, it's not good news. Apparently, Lindelof might be having to have surgery, which is pretty disappointing, obviously, for the player. And also, well, for Manchester United, he was definitely somebody who Manchester United wanted to move on. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed, really, to be honest. I really, really did hope that Manchester United would be able to get rid of people like Victor Lindelof this summer. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just unfortunate, isn't it? And the problem we have is we only have a year left of Victor Lindelof. He's going to leave for free in 12 months. So this was our last opportunity to get any money for Victor Lindelof. And that opportunity's probably gone out of the window now. Because no one's going to sign him in January. He can agree a pre-contract agreement in January to move to another club. So this is the last opportunity. And he's now injured. He's on crutches and apparently he's going to have surgery. So Victor Lindelof looks like he will be staying at Manchester United. I'm pretty disappointed about this, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to go down this whole route of like he's faking injury and stuff. I don't think he's faking an injury. I've seen him on crutches. It's just bad timing. It's unfortunate. It happens. Players get injured. Maybe he gets better by then, but yeah, I did read this a couple of hours ago that apparently he might have to have surgery. Yeah. Oh, hold on a minute. I'm just seeing here. Let me just check this story here on Victor Lindelof. Yeah, so it says apparently there are fresh concerns about Victor Lindelof, who is set for a long spell on the sidelines. It says the Swedish defender was forced out of pre-season against Liverpool with what was initially thought to be a minor issue. However, the player's wife posted an image of him on crutches over the weekend to suggest he is far from a comeback amid United's attempts to sell him. And then later on in the article, it says that apparently Victor Lindelof may have to have surgery. So, yeah, Lindelof isn't going anywhere, unfortunately. And you can't get rid of players when they're injured. Like it just doesn't work because they'll go and do a medical and they'll fail the medical. People in the chat are saying he's already had his surgery. Okay. Does anybody know when the surgery was? I've only just heard about this surgery because he played a couple of games ago, I swear, in the pre-season. So did something go wrong with the surgery? If anybody knows more about Victor Lindelof's surgery, please let me know and I'll read it out. Yeah, because I thought the surgery was kind of happening now. Because obviously he was playing in the pre-season tour and then suddenly he was injured. So, yeah. It's annoying, but it's just how it is with football. Football's a contact sport. Football always has injuries. Always. So, yeah, hopefully Victor Lindelof gets better. Hopefully he can contribute this season. Yes, it's frustrating that we've not been able to sell him. Yes, it's frustrating that he's going to leave for free next summer. Yes, it's frustrating that he's on 120 grand a week and we're still going to have to pay him that, although he's probably going to barely play. But there's nothing we can do about that, The alternative is that you release him from his contract, but that would mean paying off his whole contract. So what would be the benefit of that? He was one of the players that at the beginning of the summer, I think Manchester United were desperate to sell. We all know that. We know that Manchester United wanted to bring in 3 centre-backs, Branthwaite, Yoro and De Ligt. But obviously if Victor Lindelof goes nowhere, it's very difficult to bring in, more centre-backs than what we have already. Right, let's move on from that, though, and let's talk about the left-back situation. So in relation to the left-back, apparently Manchester United aren't going to sign a left-back this summer. This is coming out from Laurie Whitwell at The Athletic. Yeah, apparently we're not going to get a left-back. So that's annoying. I know a lot of people really, really wanted a new left-back, me included. But there's only a certain amount of money we can spend. And a new left back is going to probably cost you, what, 30 million for a good one? If you went for someone like Ferdi Kadioglu or someone of that quality, like, it's going to cost you a big amount of money. It's a really hard one with the left back situation, you know, because I personally think we need a new left back. But at the same time, when you think that we've got Malacia, we've got Shaw, we've got Martinez who can play at left back, you've got Mazraoui, you've got Dalot, and you've got Harry Amas. You've got 6 players who can play at left back. You know? 6 different options. So, is it really a priority for one position when you already have 6 options there? I'm not sure if it is. And the thing we have to remember is, right, Malacia and Luke Shaw apparently are both going to be back after the international break. I think the international break is at the end of September. Let me just double check when the international break is. But yeah, both of those 2 players are going to be back. So the international break is... Oh, wait a minute. The international break's at the beginning of September. Hold on a minute. I thought the international break was later on than that. Oh, it's really soon, isn't it? 7th of September. What? Is that real? So the international break's in like 2 weeks. That's crazy. Like, the season is literally just starting, and then we have to go and play some pointless friendlies at international level. Like, what is the logic behind that? I bet you any money that some of our players will go off and get injured playing pointless friendlies. Yeah, so we play Brighton this Saturday, and then we play Liverpool, and then we don't play again for 2 weeks. That's so annoying. I'm sorry. That's so annoying. But let's hope that Luke Shaw and Malacia are back after the Liverpool game, because that's what we're being told. You know, both of those 2 players should be back and in around the squad after the international break, which is, yeah, as I said, Manchester United's first game after the international break is Saturday the 14th of September. So they've got quite a while to get themselves together. And that must be why Manchester United aren't going for a new left back, because, you know, they're working on the assumption that Luke Shaw and Malacia aren't that far away from coming back from injury. So, yeah. Right. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. I can see loads of people asking about Manuel Ugarte. Hold on one sec. I'm just changing the video because there's so many people like getting confused by the video title. Just to be clear, right? When a deal is agreed, it will say deal is agreed. When it's a here we go, it will say here we go. So yeah, you need to just wait until it gets to the point of the show, until we talk about that specific topic. Okay, let's move on from that though. So Luke Shaw and Malacia hopefully back soon. Whether or not that will happen, probably not in reality, because I don't know. I just don't have any faith in either of them, to be honest. We had the same story last summer, didn't we? And in January, we should have gone and signed... Sorry, in January, we let Reguilon go back to Tottenham, didn't we? And then Luke Shaw was out for like the whole season. So even if Luke Shaw comes back, he'll probably get injured again, you know? Yeah, it's just annoying, isn't it? It is. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Jadon Sancho then, shall we, quickly? Because this is coming out from Sky Sports. They're reporting today that apparently Chelsea are still interested in signing Jadon Sancho. Apparently Manchester United are asking for as little as 40 million pounds for Jadon Sancho, which isn't really that great, I don't think. But I would take it. I would take 40 million at this point, I think. Yeah, I would. I think now we just need to get Jadon Sancho out. We need to move him on. We need to cash in. That's what we need to do, you know? And we need to then go and reinvest that money. Because at the moment, Jadon Sancho staying and hanging around the team doesn't really get us anywhere, you know? Darren says, where does this guy think all the money is coming from if we don't sell? Well, that's a good question, Darren. Thank you for your question. Thank you for the tone of it. It was very much appreciated. Well, let's do a little bit of a rundown, shall we? Because I love it when people put comments in, but clearly haven't thought about the comment themselves, which is fine. And that's why shows like this are good, because I can give you some more information. So Manchester United this summer, their net spend is £80 million. Okay? £80 million for the richest club in the world, who turn over 600-700 million every single season. Last summer, so remember that figure, we've spent 80 million so far, right? Last summer, Manchester United spent 150 million. And there's people who are saying we don't have money. How can we not have money? When the Glazers were not in the Champions League, they would spend 200 million every single summer without fail. INEOS have spent 80 million this summer. Multiple different people have said that Manchester United can afford to bring in Manuel Ugarte, but they would rather sell players first. And what INEOS are trying to do is they're trying to get rid of the players' surplus to requirements before they then go and sign the new players effectively. And the thing that a lot of people seem to forget or seem to not be aware of is that every single deal that we've done this summer has been spread over a 4-year period. So we spent 42 on Lenny Yoro. We spent 34 on Joshua Zirkzee, 12.8 on Mazraoui. Our total outgoings is about £140 million, right? And we've spread that £140 million over a 4-year period. So this summer, really, we've only spent about 35 million because it's spread over like a 4-year period. We can spend way more money than what we've spent now, you know? Yeah, we can spend way more money, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. Who knows? But I think when you look at it and you compare it to previous windows, most of the people in the chat used to complain about... most of the people in the chat used to complain about the Glazers and all the rest of it. But so far, the Glazers were spending more money than INEOS. That's a fact. They did in previous windows. But I think the biggest problem with the Glazers spending is that most of the money was coming from bank loans. It was coming from debt. They were borrowing the money. Whereas INEOS are trying to use money they get from player sales. It's a different model. So do we have money to spend? Yes, of course we do. I don't know what's going on in the chat today. I'm not sure what's going on. Let's just put user in timeout. 24 hours. Okay, let's move on to Manuel Ugarte because I can see so many people just absolutely losing their minds over Manuel Ugarte in the chat, going absolutely nuts. So the news on Manuel Ugarte, this is being reported by pretty much every single person in world football today, is that apparently PSG have said to Manchester United that they would be willing to do a loan with an obligation to buy for Manuel Ugarte. So they've agreed to Manchester United's proposal of a loan with an obligation to buy. Now, the finite details haven't been ironed out yet, i.e. how much the obligation to buy will be, how much the loan fee will be. But in principle, they have agreed to loan Manuel Ugarte to Manchester United for 12 months. And then at the end of that 12 months, Manchester United would have to buy him off them. That's what has been agreed today. Now, is that going to happen? Maybe it's not. Maybe, again, this is, this is just another narrative to try and bring the price down. This was reported by Fabrizio. It's reported by Sky Sports. I've got all these news stories up on my screen. All these different people saying that apparently the most likely option at the moment is a loan with an obligation to buy, and that PSG have agreed to that proposal. I think that would be great. I would be really, really happy about that. I think it would be a good bit of business. You know, if we could do that, bring him in now, then give them the money starting next summer. And the thing as well, which is really, really interesting about this deal, is apparently Manchester United, again, would be splitting the transfer fee over a 3-year period. So they'd pay nothing for the first 12 months. And then next summer, they would pay like a third of the transfer fee that summer, a third the next summer, a third the summer after. Now, maybe this is just a way of Manchester United trying to bring the price down. I don't know. To be honest, at this point, I don't really care. I just want us to sign Manuel Ugarte because we need a midfielder. The window closes a week on Friday. I understand what INEOS are doing. They're trying to, play a game of poker with PSG. But the reality of the matter is, we need to bring in Manuel Ugarte now. You know, we desperately need to bring in a CDM because at the moment, Casemiro looks great, but what's going to happen in a couple of months' time when Casemiro is playing 2 games a week? He's probably going to get injured. He's probably going to look sloppy, and people will turn against him very, very quickly. So I think it's absolutely vital that Manchester United bring in Manuel Ugarte now. And if they can do this loan with an obligation to buy, I think it makes sense. But if we're going to do that, then I would expect us to go and buy some other players as well. You know, I don't really see the point in loaning him for 12 months with the commitment to buying him next year, unless we're going to use that money this summer, you know, unless we're going to say go and buy a left back or a centre back or a striker or whatever it might be, another midfielder. That's the bit that I don't really understand about this whole loan to buy option, you know? Like, if we'd spent 200 million, I'd say, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But as I said, our net spend so far this window is only about £80 million, which is about half of what it was last summer. And when you think that that figure doesn't include Pellistri, it doesn't include Will Fish, who's just about to leave, it doesn't include Hannibal, who's about to leave, like, we'll probably sell another 30 to 40 million pounds worth of players before the end of this window, I reckon, total. And if McTominay goes, it could be even more. If Sancho goes, it could be even more. So, yeah, I don't really get the whole point of the loan to buy thing. You know, if you want the player, then just go and buy him. Because, as I said many, many times before, if Manchester United agree a deal, say, for £40 million for Manuel Ugarte, that price will be split over like a 3 or 4 year period anyway. It's not like they're going to have to pay all of that up front. That's not going to happen. And that was, in fact, why Manchester United didn't sign João Neves from Benfica, because Benfica were asking for apparently 50% of the fee for João Neves up front, and Manchester United didn't have the money or weren't willing to part with the money to do that in one move. So that's effectively why that didn't happen. So yeah, I still think that Manuel Ugarte will come. I just think it's one of those ones where it's just being dragged out, and it's frustrating. It's annoying. Like, honestly, I would rather not every single day a different story comes about Manuel Ugarte, and that's what we talk about, you know? I would prefer there be other news stories to talk about. But the big news today is that apparently PSG are ready to accept a loan deal for Manuel Ugarte. That's the big story. And that's the story that everyone wants to talk about. So, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. Let's see. I don't know what's going on in the chat today. There's a couple of people today who just seem to be being really toxic, which is like... I'm just not here for it. If you're like a toxic person, right, and you're just somebody who likes to just be negative for no reason, then I genuinely would rather you just don't watch this channel. I honestly, I'm not bothered. Like, this channel has always been somewhere which is like positive and non-toxic, and I think that's why most of the people who watch it regularly watch it. So if you're someone who has just come on just to be toxic, I'll just ban you. I honestly could not care less if I lose a viewer, to be honest. I really couldn't. I don't do this as a job. I do this as a hobby. Like, I would rather keep the people here who are regulars than somebody who's probably just coming in for one show just to be toxic, you know? I've just timed out a couple of people because I don't know what's going on, but I can see people in the chat saying something's going down. But yeah, obviously any of the mods and stuff, you can deal with that. But yeah, I think, like, just to say, I think, you know, we've been doing this a year, and I think most people come here because of the non-toxicity about it. That's what I think most people enjoy about it. That's why I do it, you know? Like, that's the main reason I do this channel. I don't do it for financial gains. I don't do it for, like, ego or for clout or anything. Like, none of that means anything to me. Honestly, it really doesn't. You don't know me personally outside of seeing me on this camera, but, like, it really doesn't mean anything to me, honestly. I do this because I enjoy it. I enjoy speaking to you. I like the community we've built. I like all of the regulars. I like the sense that we all speak to each other. Yeah. Alfonso says, to be fair, you can only talk about what news is out there at the moment. Of course, yeah, that's how these shows work, you know? Like, and as Nick says, it's the transfer window, you know, like crazy stuff goes on in the transfer window. And I don't understand what the mass hysteria is about today. Like the video title says, PSG agreed to Manuel Ugarte loan deal with a question mark. Right? And that is literally what's being reported everywhere. Well, I mean, it's not. It's a question mark. It's a question. And it's, you know, Fabrizio saying it. Sky Sports are saying it. All of these different people are saying that Manchester United are trying to do a loan offer with PSG. And that's what PSG are willing to do. You know? So I don't really see what the problem is. I think it's just people who, yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, loads of people in the chat here are just saying, you know, I watch this channel because it's not toxic. And I don't know what it is today. I don't know whether it's... I don't know. I honestly don't know. Very strange. And it's not even... I can see Paul saying, you know, keep up the good work, ignore the haters. Like, I don't even know what people are saying. Like, I'm not bothered whatsoever. All I'm saying is if people are toxic, I'll just ban them. I don't care. That's what I'm saying. That's my point here. So it's more of a warning than anything. You can have differing opinions and we can have conversation. Like someone might come on and say, I love Marcus Rashford. And someone else might say, I hate Marcus Rashford or I dislike Marcus Rashford. That's fine. You know, but it's when people are like, yeah, that's all I'm saying. And I don't want to be like, you know, a dictator or whatever, but I'm just saying, you know, effectively, I do this for passion. I do this because I enjoy it. I do it because I love Manchester United. I love speaking to all the regulars every single day. And yeah, that's my primary kind of goal and reason for doing this channel. And if people are toxic, I don't need that in my life. And yeah, I'll just ban you. I don't care if that means I lose a viewer or I lose a viewer. Like, but anyway, let's move on from that. I just thought it was important to say because I can see it seems to be upsetting some people in the chat today. Right, let's see what people are saying. Let's try and have a bit of discussion. Bjorn says, I think in the future you should talk about your headline first. Less frustration and maybe less toxicity in the chat. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I think the way I like to do it, right, is I like to try and rattle through all of the smaller bits of news first, because there's so much news at the moment that I think it's quite important to talk about some of the other bits as well, because otherwise, the thing you have to remember is, right, I do this 3 times a day because I enjoy it, right? And 99% of the time, we're just talking about Manuel Ugarte, or we were talking about when De Ligt was going to sign, or we're talking about, you know, it's the same things over and over again. So when we get news that Pellistri, Will Fish, a couple of the others are leaving, Hannibal's in talks with Burnley, like all of that stuff excites me because it's players who need to go who are going. Whereas Manuel Ugarte, it's like we've been talking about him for like 2 months. It's so boring now. It's so boring. Right, let's see what people are saying in the chat. United Since 51 says, who would even pay 5 million for Christian Eriksen? That's a good question. Good question. I mean, I don't know how much money Ajax have, to be fair. I would like to know. But you'd hope that Ajax would have 5 million. I'll be honest, I don't know enough about Ajax to kind of talk about their finances. So, yeah, it's a little bit difficult for me to give an answer on that one. But apparently Manchester United are talking to Ajax about a deal for Christian Eriksen. So whether that will go through or not. James says, do you think Xerxes will start on Saturday? I don't think so. I don't think so, to be honest. Let me rephrase that question. Would I like Joshua Xerxes to start on Saturday? Yes, I would. I would love to see Xerxes start on Saturday. I love him. I really, really do. I think he's got that aura about him, doesn't he, Joshua Xerxes? I like the way he speaks as well. Like in his interviews, he just seems humble. He just seems like he's got a good head on his shoulder. He doesn't seem like he has a big ego. And I think that he's going to be a massive influence on our team this season. So would I start Joshua Xerxes? I would. But as I always say to you, I am not the Manchester United manager. I am just somebody sat in front of a webcam talking about the club I love. And I trust Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag has my full backing. And if Erik ten Hag thinks that Joshua Xerxes isn't ready to start the game on Saturday, I trust him. Because what I will say is this. Do I think Bruno works as a false 9? Not really. But Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount pressing together against Fulham, that worked really, really well for me. And we were pinning Fulham in their own half, which is not something we were doing last season. Our press was just non-existent. Yeah. What's my prediction for the game on Saturday? I think Man United will beat Brighton, to be honest. I do. Scoreline, I think it's going to be quite tight. But the thing we have to remember is Brighton play a very high line. So I think we can expose that quite easily. So yeah, I'm going with maybe like a 2-1. I think it'll be close. Bjorn says, what about a 4-2-2 with Xerxes and Fernandes as the front two? I'd like that. I think that'd be cool. I'd be into that. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat quickly. Billy says Lindelof would be sold in January. The problem with that is, mate, because Lindelof's going into the final year of his contract, Lindelof can agree a pre-contract agreement in January. So I don't think Lindelof will be sold in January because any team outside of the Premier League can effectively agree to sign Lindelof in the summer in January. Does that make sense? It's a little bit confusing, but that's how it works anyway. So a Fenerbahce, for example, could agree to sign Lindelof in January. What else have we got? Stefan says, when do you think Harry Amas will start? I'll be honest with you, mate. And I don't think Harry Amas is going to get much game time this season, to be honest. I like Harry Amas. I think he has a massive future ahead of him. But yeah, I don't personally think we're going to see much of Harry Amas. I don't. I might be wrong. Hopefully he gets his opportunities. Hopefully he gets his game time. But I just personally don't see it. Not because I don't think he's good enough. I just think that, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think he's going to get game time. Obviously, now that Mazraoui's come in, Dalot can play there. Luke Shaw's going to be back soon. Malacia will be back soon. Martinez can play there. Like, Harry Amas is probably like the 6th choice left back at the moment. And I think it's going to be a few years before we see Harry Amas like starting a lot. I think he'll be on the bench. I think he may get a couple of minutes here and there. But he is only 17, remember, Harry Amas. You know, he's still very, very young. And you have got 5 senior left backs all ahead of him. So, yeah. Gary says, why do you think we're the only club that can't get money for our players when all the other clubs do? I don't know, mate, to be honest. I don't know. That's the $1 million question, isn't it? Because Pellistri isn't on big wages. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I wish I did. You know? Man City get 15-20 million pounds for players we've never even heard of from their youth academy. Whereas we've got Pellistri, who is a Uruguayan national team player, regular for Uruguay, and we're getting €6 million for him. I don't know. I honestly do not know the answer. It's really, really strange. If anybody has any ideas, obviously let me know. But yeah, I can't think of, you know, a decent reason why we don't get money and other clubs do. It is strange. Joe says he doesn't trust Erik ten Hag. Fair enough. That's your opinion. The thing is, right, I just think we have to back the players and the manager. I think we have to get behind them. They've won 2 trophies in the last 2 years. We've won more trophies in the last 2 years than Arsenal have won in the last 5 under Arteta. And Man United are supposedly going through the worst run of form in their history, or not in their history, in the Premier League history and all the rest of it. Right? Manchester United are apparently at their worst, and we've still won more than Arsenal, who are at their best. What would you rather, right? Would you rather win trophies or play attractive football? I mean, that's a question for you. That is a question for you. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll before we end the video. Because I'd honestly be interested to know what you think. What would you rather? Play nice football like Arsenal, win trophies like Man United. I'm honestly interested to know what people think. So you got two options here, right? What would you rather? Arteta has won one FA Cup in 5 years as the Arsenal manager, but they play nice football. He's the best manager at Arsenal since Wenger. You know, that's what people tell us. He's an amazing manager. Right? Or would you rather play... I know the answer is a balance between the two. I get all of that. I get that, you know? I know I've asked you a bit of a trick question here, and obviously you want to play good football. You know, you want a bit of both. Daryl says, sorry, I voted for the Arsenal one. Well, it's up to you, mate. That's your opinion, you know? Akash says, are you aware that Lindelof is out for 16 months? I've not heard that anywhere. Joe saying apparently that he's had toe surgery. Is that true? I feel like you're making that up. I don't think he's had toe surgery. I mean, I've not seen anything anywhere about him having 16 months out. Malp says football is all about trophies. That's a weird poll. The point of the poll is, right? People are like, oh, look at how Brighton played. Look at how Burnley played last season. Look at how blah, blah, blah play. And it's something I've always said to you, right? In the last 2 years under Erik ten Hag, 90% of the time our football has been poor, I would say. But we've won 2 trophies. Arteta plays this beautiful football and has won nothing. Well, he's won 1 FA Cup. That's the kind of conversation I'm trying to have here. And there isn't a right or wrong answer. And I don't know. I mean, I would rather win trophies. Ant says that's like asking me to choose my favourite child. Yeah, I mean, it was a trick question. And obviously the answer is you want to be somewhere in the middle, you know? You want to play attractive football and win trophies, you know? But everyone's saying it's all about winning trophies. Yeah, I think it is as well. And that's all I'm saying, you know? When people are like, I don't trust Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag came to Manchester United after we hadn't won a trophy for 6 years and won us a trophy in his first season, got to an FA Cup final, finished third, and then in the second season, we won the FA Cup. You know? Ollie was here for 6 years. Ollie was here for like 4 years, wasn't he? The mood was amazing. The vibes were great. Everyone was smiling. We were playing nice counter-attacking football, but we won nothing. We failed at every single hurdle. Whereas Erik ten Hag's come in, the football's been questionable at points, but we have won stuff. And that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, Tottenham have won nothing. Tottenham play better football than Manchester United do, 100%. And they've won nothing. When was the last time Tottenham won a trophy? Someone will let me know in the chat. The last time Tottenham won a trophy was 2008. Nearly 15 years ago. But I would say that under Poch, probably under Ange last season, they were playing better football than we were. And they won nothing. It's a really, really difficult one. And as I said, there's no right or wrong answer. But I just thought I'd throw it in there just for a laugh. Just to, you know, rile up the chat a bit. Right, let's see what people are saying. People are saying, where can we watch the under-21s game? Probably on MUTV, to be honest, I imagine. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. It feels like a good moment to end the show. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back live at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Have a lovely night, everybody. Make sure to smash a like and subscribe before you go. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I will speak to you all later. Bye for now.